Good day, folks, and welcome back to the Sketchup Shed. Today we are going to do a couple of little tasks. I didn't think we really needed an introduction to this one with a PowerPoint and everything. So get your Sketchup Shed open, however you do it, and remember, from now on in these projects, you're going to save each project with the file name that corresponds to the project. We talked about this in class. If you open this up just like this and you change this, it just changes the file name. It doesn't make a copy. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to go here. You want to go over to this spot here. Some people call that the hamburger. Some people call it the 3 bars. You do that and do a save as. And I have to select my drive. I think you guys just have one drive that you can choose from, but I have to select which one I want to put it in. You just, as long as you save it somewhere where you can remember where it is and you can find it again. I'm going to name it Sketchup Shed 13, and I forgot one very important part, which was to put my name there, which I hope you'll all start doing from now on. Ideally, I would see your name and then Sketchup Shed 13 or whatever lesson it is. This is the 13th lesson. So I'm going to save this, and then I can start to work on it without affecting my last version of it. So, thinking about the best way to tackle the siding, these gable ends here were the real challenge. And as much as I tried to move a piece of siding up there and then cut it, it wasn't as easy as drawing the piece of siding on there. Okay, so what I decided to do was draw the piece of siding on there, but that also presents a little bit of a challenge. Okay, first thing you would do, just hide this fascia rafter so that we can see clearly into what we're drawing in here. Because what you're going to be drawing on is you're going to be drawing sort of on the rafter, and then you'll be drawing a little L shape right here and down here and along this top plate. You need to make absolutely certain then that this rafter and this top plate are perfectly aligned. So if you're looking down here and you're seeing a little gap, or one of these is sticking out to the left or to the right, you need to get them lined up. So if you're one of these people who's been grabbing onto things in random spots and just kind of eyeballing where they go, so you're doing something like this, maybe even you get it in the right axis to move it, but you're eyeballing it along and you don't really snap it to anything, you just kind of put it there, it's not going to work very well. Okay, what you need to do is make sure that when you move something, oh, I went too far, you snap onto an endpoint in a component and you move it to an endpoint in a component, and that way those two endpoints are attached together and they're perfectly aligned. Okay, so that's something that you need to check out, and if this starts giving you a lot of trouble, you need to let me know. Alright, I will help you out with it. Now the procedure here, and I'll show you what actually what can happen here. If I draw a rectangle with the rectangle tool, you'll always see a gray surface on one side and you'll see a kind of whitish surface on the other side. It has a surface, but we're going to draw a shape with the line tool. And what can happen with the line tool is that you can get sort of, if I was trying to draw a shape on the ground here, and then I can get sort of into a situation where, okay, I wasn't able to make it happen that time. I'm trying to make something happen here. Okay. I wasn't able to do it again. I'm just too good. That's all. Oh. Okay, so that one, it didn't do it. You can see that I actually have a rectangular shape, but SketchUp didn't create a surface in it. And there might be a bit of an optical illusion here, but you can see what happens if you scroll around and look at it from a different angle. You can see that it's not actually flat, and SketchUp has no idea what to do with that. Okay, SketchUp doesn't know how to put a surface on that, and that's what is going to happen if you don't have that rafter aligned with that top plate, with that very top plate there, because here is how we're going to do this. What you'll do, you'll start at the very bottom of this top plate, and you'll start to draw a line, and you'll draw up till you get to the end point in that plate. Then make sure your pencil is still drawing, and if it's not, undo your line and start again. But you can back out, and you're going to draw right along the surface of this rafter, and you'll draw until you get yourself right into that midpoint of that rafter, and then you'll have to come straight down, and you should be able to be on the blue axis until you get to the very edge of that the ridge board, and then you'll draw a line, get yourself in the red axis, and come across till you get into the exact middle of the shed. So it doesn't really matter where you pick that up, as long as you're in the exact middle of the shed. Okay, so you could pick it up right there, and then you draw a line straight down on the blue axis to that midpoint. Remember, we started at the bottom of that plate, and then if you go across to there, you should get a surface. Okay, so this this siding is 3/8 of an inch thick, so we're going to pull that out to 3/8 of an inch in thickness with the push-pull tool. Okay, so you get it, start to pull it, and then SketchUp will do the fraction for you. You just have to enter 3/8 or 3/8, however you think about it. And before we even make this into a component or a group, remember, once we make it into a component or a group, then it all gets painted at once. We're going to get the eyedropper from the paint bucket, and we're going to eyedropper that color off of the siding and put it on there. And for the back of the siding, we're going to get the eyedropper again. Oh, that's not the eyedropper. Get the eyedropper and get that color off the back of the siding. And if you want to be nice and accurate and do a super fantastic job, all of those little spots there would be the same color as the back of the siding. Okay, so you can come up and fill in all those little spots, and you'll have a beautiful, accurate looking sheet of siding. Get around the back and color the back of that. So that's all painted now. We can get the select tool, click it 3 times fast. Did I get it all? I don't think I did. I better do it again. 1, 2, 3, 3 times fast. Okay, that's got it. Yeah. So now we can make that a group. We're gonna do this actually in a certain way, an easier way this time. We're gonna take this group. We're gonna hit Control to duplicate it. We'll move it out on the red axis, and then with this one, we'll do flip along. So I right-clicked there to get this menu to come up, and then I come down in the menu to where it says flip along, and we're going to do components red, and that actually flips it and makes it a mirror image of what it was. So you'll get this very corner here with the move tool. You get the corner of that component or that group, then you come down here and get right there where it says the endpoint in that group, and that's actually finished. Okay, so what we can do with it is to select both of these now. So I get the select tool, hold down my control key, and hit that, and make both of them into one component. While we've got them both selected, we'll get the move tool. Doesn't matter where we grab them really, we just grab it and start getting it on the green axis. Hit Control, make sure it's on the green axis and it doesn't move off, and then just click it out here somewhere. I'm not sure if it stayed on the green axis. I guess we'll know when we go to move it back anyway. Then you go flip along again. You can flip along. The component's red. No, that didn't work. Flip along. Components green. Okay, that worked. So now we'll just move that back onto the spot where it goes here. Oh, you have to make sure you grab it in the right spot. So I've got the corner of that component and I grab it, and I want to set the corner of that component right on that corner right there in the endpoint in that group. Some people are still eyeballing things. They're trying to just get it close. Don't try and just get it close. Glue those 2 points together, and then they're good. They're precisely accurate. So that's it for that piece of siding. And the last job that we have for that siding is to get it into the actual siding tag. So people who might not have been in class yesterday, I had talked earlier in the when we were doing these things about how when you open this up, you can get too many things open here, and it's just too much to keep an eye on up here. So I had said that you have to go up here and you have to click the red X's to get rid of some of it, and then you can sort of be back to where you want to be. Now, what we figured out, this arrow here collapses everything that you have open. This area here is called the panels. And this arrow here collapses the panels completely, and then you can just open what you want. So right now, all we want is tags, and I'll open up the tags, and I will select these pieces right here, these 2 components. Hold down my control key so I've got them both selected, and then I will enter them into the siding tag, and that they will be where they belong. And we'll check here. If we turn off the siding tag, everything goes off. That's good. Now, we've still got to do the 2 end walls for siding. So we can actually turn off the rafters and ridge board, the rafter ties. That should be good enough. We can see what we're doing here. We'll turn off the fascia boards too. Now we're going to move this. We are going to use these whole sheets of siding here. So we'll get this. We'll hit Control so we're duplicating it and just get it kind of moved over here. And once again we'll tackle the simple wall first. Get kind of looking down onto it and get the rotate tool. So by looking down onto it, it helps us to position that rotate tool in the green axis. So if I go wherever I click, I can be, as long as I'm on the green axis. See, it was trying to snap. It was trying to snap to Dr. Temple Grandin here, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to get it out far away from everything else that it wants to snap to, and I'm going to snap it on the green axis. Then I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees, so when it's back in the green axis, I can click. Oh, I did it wrong. I should have rotated it 90 degrees here. We'll just do it quick here. Boom, 90 degrees. So you start off on the green and you end up on the red when you're rotating something 90 degrees. Now, we want to move that. So we want to get our move tool, and we'll get right exactly onto this very corner here. Now, people who have been snapping in random places, that's a habit you need to break. You snap right on the corner of the group, and then you get out and you get looking exactly where you need to put it, and then you get yourself to snap right onto the exact spot that you need to be on. And in this case, it is right there. Okay, I'm there. It says endpoint in group. I hit my mouse. Now there's a stud sticking out of there. I didn't rotate it correctly. Okay. I'm going to put it back to the original rotation it was in. I didn't rotate it correctly, so I'm going to put it back to the original rotation it was in and get the rotate tool. I'm going to get on the, make sure I'm rotating in the blue plane, and get onto the green axis, and then get onto the red axis, and then we'll try it again. Okay, you can't get frustrated. You gotta just keep a positive attitude. You know, it's so much fun that it's even fun when you make mistakes, right? There we go, beautiful. Now let's see if it's right this time. There, that looks a lot better. Now why doesn't it look like? Oh, I didn't get it right. Okay, so I have to just grab it again. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. So I'm trying to grab this one right by that corner. I got it this time. Okay, that's right. So now we're all set there. And we've put it in the tags, and now we're going to, oh, okay, so we've got it in the right place. We need another one, so we're going to get it moving, hit the control key, and make sure that we're in the red axis. So we're moving it straight along the red axis, and it's 4 feet wide. So we just need to enter 48 inches for 4 feet. Make sure you're on the red axis and hit enter. And why don't they actually match, I wonder? Well, that's a strange thing. But I'm just going to let that go. I'm going to say that's close enough. Huh. That is a weird thing, though, because... Okay, maybe I didn't move this one quite enough. If I grab it right there, and I move it over here, then is there a gap between them? Yes, there is. Okay, it's that I drew the other two a little bit extra wide than they need to be. Okay, it's better, you're probably better to center these on the center of the shed, and that'll be fine. Yeah, that looks fine. So you could get them centered so that this line is centered up and down here. Okay, so that makes a perfect little X there. And then we need to grab those two, and we're going to move them over. So I'm going to grab this one, Control, and click that one. Get the move. Click Control to duplicate. Get them moving on the green axis. And then if I could, why don't I try flipping these again, since flipping is the latest thing to come along. We'll try green direction, and it did it. Perfect. So we flipped along the green direction there. You just right-click to get this menu to come up, flip along green direction. Okay? And it makes a mirror image of whatever it was. Now I have to get this, and I have to put it exactly where I need it. Grab it right there. Oh, I didn't have them both selected. I might as well have them selected both and move them at the same time, right? Get the move tool, get it by that exact corner. Now when the blue dot is there, I know I've got that corner, and I know I can get right in here and I can put it exactly where I need it to be. And let's see if this end works out right, because this shed should be exactly 4 feet wide. So really, those two things should line up perfect. And for some reason, this end of the shed did line up perfectly, so that we've got a perfect sort of meeting of the center of the shed there. Now, we did the window. I'm going to hide this wall and a few other things that go along with it. So I'm going to just select all of this, and I'm going to hide it so that I've got an easy line of sight right here to this door. And we'll do the same trick we did with the window, basically. The simplest way is to get on that face. Oh, I need to be editing that component before editing that group before I draw this rectangle. So I get on that face, draw a rectangle. I push-pull it to the back. And did I get it, or did I go straight through? I didn't get it. I did it wrong. Let's see if I can... Oh, no. Okay, I'm going to undo that because I've obviously made a big mistake there. I'm going to push it. Okay, got it that time. While I'm still editing it, I'm going to come down here, push-pull that edge back to there, and I'm going to push-pull that top up to the top of the framed opening, and I'll have to get around the outside of the shed and get a look at this, and this I'm going to push-pull right back up against itself, sort of. And it looks like I still have a line there for some reason, so I'll grab the eraser tool and try and erase those little lines out of there. Same thing at the bottom. You want to completely sort of push it to where the edge of it disappears. Sometimes it seems fussy, like, oh, I did the wrong thing. I didn't grab it by the right surface. Okay, I'm going to try and grab it by that. No, what's going on here? Push. Okay, there we go. I've got it now. And that looks like that line actually went away. I may need to just touch my eraser there just to make sure. No, we're good. So now I can close that group. Now we just have to do the same step with this other piece here. So we get the rectangle, we click it and say that we're going to edit it. That's a frustrating thing if you forget to click edit group first, because you can do a couple of steps and then you figure out later that you actually weren't editing that group at all, so you haven't done yourself any good. Okay, we'll make one that's almost the size that we need. We'll get the push-pull tool, and we'll try to push it out there. That one time it worked. Okay, so now this edge here, we once again push back until it disappears, and we've got that funny line again. We'll just erase all that. Is that a line there? Yep. So then we need the push-pull tool again. We'll get facing around this way. We'll grab that there, push-pull it back to there. We'll get this and push-pull it down. Oh, I didn't quite make it there. Okay, it looks like we've got everything. It looks like there's no random lines here and there. So we can close that component, and that is all of the siding done for the shed. If we unhide everything, unhide all, and we'll just make sure we can double check now while we've got all this stuff out of here. We'll select all that siding that oh, I forgot to edit this. See, I missed a spot here, right there. So, you know what? That happens to the best of us, right, folks? I guess even the super pros like me occasionally make a mistake. Okay, we're going to bring that right up to there, and that's done. So we'll close that component, close that group again. And while we've got all this framing out of here, we can just double check, and we can make sure that we select all the siding that we did today. Did that get selected? Yeah. Okay. Did that piece get selected? It did. And now we're going to just make sure that we put that into the siding tag. So let's turn off the siding tag and see if we got it all. We did. That's all the siding for the whole shed done, and it's in its proper tag. The next thing that we'll tackle is going to be the soffit. So soffit, if I can find an image of soffit, just so we have an idea what we're actually starting with here. Soffit is the area underneath the, this is the area of soffit. Let me get a better image here. We'll just do a quick image search and I'll show you. This is the soffit, right? You've got the fascia, which we've got, and this is the soffit. So we're going to tackle the soffit right this minute, right now. So there is lots of different ways to do soffit. Usually in modern housing and construction, it's done with vinyl that's specially made for that. And if you look up at your soffits, you'll probably see that they're all full of little holes to let the air flow through in your attic, because you have an insulated attic and it would get really damp in there if it wasn't ventilated. We'll just make some plywood soffits here and it'll be easy to model. So what you'll do, you'll get your rafter and your rafter and your fascia board, get lined up so that you can see the joint pretty straight between the rafter and the fascia board. And then you'll start right where they join, and you'll get in the green axis, and we're just going to make a sort of a 1x1 piece of wood. So you'll just enter 1, 1, and you'll move that down 1 inch. So you're going to grab it with the select tool, click it twice, get the move tool, move it straight down 1 inch. It's moving the wrong way. You got to make sure you're in the blue axis. Okay, 1, enter, and we will pull it right to the very other end of the fascia board. So you can move out and scroll your way down to the under end of the fascia board, place it there right away, make it a component. And that will be what holds up the soffit that we're going to use. We're just going to model some 1/2-inch plywood soffit, and we'll do the paint bucket, and we should already have the right color in the paint bucket. At least I should, since I just did it. And the soffit's going to sit on top of that and another piece the exact same size that we would nail up against the side of the shed. So we're going to move this now from this edge. We're going to hit Control. We're going to make sure that we're in the red axis and hit Shift, and we will move it onto that very edge of that siding there. Okay. So now we've got 2 pieces running along the edge of that siding. And the plywood is really super easy to model if we turn off the tags of the rafters, because then we can look straight down on it and we'll be able to see, and we'll be able to draw a rectangle. And this is not the way we usually do it, but this works well. If you can get right onto that very corner and zoom in a little bit if you have to, but I'm right on that very corner, and I click and then I zoom back out and move myself down here and zoom in a little bit. I'll get right on that very corner, and there is that. We'll say that it's 1/2 inch plywood, so we'll pull it up 1/2 inch, get the push pull tool and do 0.5, and that's the soffit made for the side of the shed. And you want to make that a component right away. Make component. Okay. And we'll paint bucket it the same, I guess the same color as everything else. Okay, so this is one of the funny things about SketchUp. You can see right now the grain is actually going across the wood. Generally I don't worry about that, but it's just not the most accurate thing. There is a way of changing it, but it's a bit of work and a bit of complication. So that soffit, we can move that over to the other side just by, if we select it all, we do, let's move it, let's select it all. So I get the select tool, hit down the control key, and I'll select them both. And while I'm doing this, I'll add a tag for soffits. So I'll add the tag soffits, and when I find where it is, I will soffits, I will put everything that's in there into the soffits tag, and we'll already have that tag. Everything to do with the soffits will go into that tag. But to move it, you would get the move tool, get right onto this very corner right here, click on it, hit control to duplicate, and get moving on the red axis. Hold the shift key to hold yourself on the red axis, and you just have to move it to right there on that edge. And that's as far as we'll go with the soffits today. You can kind of turn things back on and have a look, see how it looks. That looks pretty reasonable, right? And what we'll do now, we'll just do a little bit of fun modeling. So we can put a flower, what do you call it? Now the word for it is slipping my mind completely. What we're going to do here, you can get yourself 2 construction lines, 6 inches from each edge of where we're working. So put a construction line 6 inches from that edge of the shed and 6 inches from this edge of the door, and then draw yourself a rectangle. Now I can't see them. Rectangle. Okay, I wonder if I change. Still can't. Now I can kind of see them. Okay, I'm on that line. What I did there, I just so that I could see those construction lines easier. If you can sort your tags by color. So if you go right over here and you click on the tags thing, it will go to the color-coded color that that tag has. So right now I only did that just so I can see my construction lines, and I'm going to just get on one construction line and draw over to the other, and then I can switch back to normal colors. And I will pull that out, and all I'm going to do right here is get myself a rectangular box in the size of the planter. It's a planter, that's the word I was looking for. In the size of the planter I think it should be. So this is, you guys can do whatever you want with this really, as far as the size goes. I think as far as size goes, I'm going to let that go just as it is. Maybe I'll make it just a little bit bigger this way. And does it need to be wider? No, I don't think so. Okay, so now we can move that out so that we're going to model it. We'll select it, click all the pieces so that we've selected the entire thing, and we can just move it out off to the side so that we can kind of work on it and see what it looks like. So with this, it doesn't look much like a planter right now. It just kind of looks like a square box. But to get it looking good, we can just grab the move tool, and since it's not a component yet, this is where the actual being able to move things comes in handy. You can grab that edge and you can start to move it back. So if you start to just moving it back, and I'm going to just try 2.5 for now and see how that looks. So it looks kind of like that. Same with this edge. Grab it, move it back in, 2.5. See how this looks. Actually, that looks not bad. It looks maybe like that's a little bit of an excessive, I don't know. What do I think of that? It's okay. So we'll grab this edge as well and move it in 2.5. And we'll see what we've got there. It's a little bit angled for a planter, but it's not bad. So doing it that way, it gives us we still have an actual straight back on it, sort of. So we've got looks like that from the side. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, so if we want to make it look nice, the next thing we can do at the top here, I'll show you another new tool. If you select this surface here, so you get onto here, select this surface, you have a tool in with the push-pull, and it's called the offset tool. And when you click the offset tool and you click on that surface, it starts to create a line that comes in from the surface, or if you wanted, you could go out from the surface. We want to come in. So just come in and say 1 inch and hit enter. And then you can take that and you can push-pull. You want to hit escape so that you're push-pulling down in the middle, and you want to watch, because if you push-pull too far, you'll pull right through the bottom of it. But since we're just modeling this on a fun basis anyway, we're just going to make that the level of the dirt there. And another fancy thing that we can really do nicely in SketchUp is something called the Follow Me tool. Now, if you guys find this too frustrating, there's no marks for the Follow Me tool, but if you can make it work and it's fun, that's fantastic. What you could do here is there's a couple of tools here you would need to do these stages. You would get the arc tool, and you would grab, I think it's this first arc right here. No, it's not that one. I think it's this one that we want. So you go onto that end point, and then you, along this edge, you just enter 1 inch, and then you start to pull an arc out, and you get that arc on the red axis, and in that you get it lined out in pink there, and just hit 1 inch, and this is going to make a nice little bit of trim all the way around the top. So the Follow Me tool, you select these three edges here. So get that edge highlighted in blue, hold your control key. Get this edge highlighted in blue, keep your control key down. Get this edge highlighted in blue, hold your control key down so you've got them all selected. And then you come over to the push-pull, and instead of doing the push-pull, you do this Follow Me tool, and it says Follow Me right on it. Then just come along here and click on that. Oh, it's not doing it the way I wanted it to. So sometimes you have to drag it around the edges just like this. And you can drag it to that back and click it, and then it starts to look kind of nice. So that starts to look sort of like a planter. And if those edges are bothering you, you can always you just right click on them, and then you hit soften, and they'll kind of go away. So you can soften and right click and soften, and that starts to look sort of like a planter. I don't like the way the ends look here. There's not much I can do about it because of the shape that I've made it. So now that you've got this shape here, okay, you could go ahead and you can, I had trouble finding materials that I liked. When I open up the paint bucket and I try to go into the search for materials, it's pretty tough to locate something that I really liked. There's synthetic surfaces. Um, First of all, you want to paint the entire planter. What looks good here? Could it be made of concrete? What's this? Polished concrete? Blacktop. Blacktop. Concrete form. Concrete aggregate smoke. Polished concrete new. I wonder how that would look. You have to make sure that you have the whole thing selected, and then you select polished aggregate new and put it on there. Actually, that might not be a bad choice right there. So I guess that looks okay. You guys could look for whatever colors you wanted. And then for the sand that would be in it, what did I pick for that? That's not it. You guys can experiment, find what you like. I don't know. There's not a lot here. It's not. I don't know if SketchUp is really made for this. That. I don't even know. You guys can experiment with this if you want. You could even make it like just green in the bottom, like vegetation, if you wanted. Like it. It's up to you guys. And then the fun part is you just go to. I think now if you hit that arrow, it takes everything away. But when it brings everything that you had back when you take it back. So you do have to end up in the end closing all these out if you want them closed, and it's a bit of a pain in the neck. I wish that they would set it up a little bit differently. So now we go to the warehouse and we start looking for some flowers. And I already played with these and found the ones that I kind of like. Now they seem to be gone. What if I just hit up flower without an S? Oh no, they're all gone. Wow, I had some that were really easy to use earlier. Okay. That were like garden flowers. Garden flowers. Okay. Well, man, I had some really good ones earlier. Okay, so there's a garden flower, and we can take that and we can plant it in the pot. And if it's way too big, as ours is, what you can do, hit the S button, and that gives you a whole bunch of little spots where you can grab onto. And you want to grab onto one of the very corners, one of the actual corners, because that scales the whole thing. Okay? If you grab onto the side, you can do this, but you end up with a really long flower that's not shaped right. Okay? So I'm just going to undo that, and I'll make it big again, and I'll start again. So I have to make that flower about the right size I think I need for my flower display here, and I can move that. There's my move tool. Okay, I have the follow me tool. Oh, that's not it. How am I losing my move tool? Oh, it goes right here, doesn't it? Apparently not. Okay, I got it. Wow, my eyesight is failing me. It's been a long day. So I can get that flower and try and get it right into the pot here. Geez, it's a tricky one. I'm actually going to rotate this if I can. I'm going to get onto that rotate and set it. It looks like it's best if I rotate it so that it's this way. And then move it straight out that way so that it's not interfering so much. Maybe rotate it a little bit back so that they're like that. And then I can, how does that look? Well, flowers are sticking out the bottom of the thing, so I can easily move it up a little bit, get it moving in the blue axis, and hold the shift key. And, okay, there we go. And now we'll get it, moving in the red axis and just shift it off to the side so that we can then copy this. Oh, control, and we'll set another one there. And they look kind of, they're all right. Looks kind of fake. I'm going to rotate this one a bit so that it looks a little more disorganized and they look a little more natural. And then I'm going to just shuffle it down a smidge. And I think that's going to have to be good. I don't know. Maybe you guys can find better flowers than I have, or maybe you can find better something with. You can find something that is a little bit more tasteful than what I've chosen here. But oh, now I guess I didn't make that thing a component. I would advise you to make that flower, your planter, a component, but I can solve this by just making this whole thing a component. I'm going to make the whole thing a component, and then that can go right back onto the side of the house. I'm going to grab it by, I'll try and get my move tool and grab it by the center of the component if I can. It's not going to let me. Okay. It'll let me grab the edge of the component, but that doesn't do me much good. I wonder if I can grab it by the center of the back of it. Okay, I can. I can grab it by the midpoint right there, and then I can get it around here, and I can sort of put it on this face, figure out what height I want it at, try and get it as much as I can right dead in the middle of it. What height would a planter go at? Right about there. And I can see my two construction lines, so I'm sort of jumping around a little bit there. So now we've got a nice planter, and you know what? I'm going to lean a rake against the wall. That's what I was thinking would be cool, if it had a rake leaning against the wall. And backing up here, we'll see if we can find a rake. A rake? Oh, look at that. Perfect. A rake. We can have rake by Izzy or rake by Danny. I think this one is the preferable one. Okay, good. Now we'll just get the rotate tool, lean that up against the wall, and rotate. Take this, get it to rotate in the red axis. So I'm holding shift so I know I'm going to rotate it in the red axis, just get it leaning. And then I'll have to, it wants to actually be facing the other way. So I'll get it in the blue axis. Oh. Get it in the blue axis, and then, come on, why isn't it? Now I did something. Okay. Get it in the blue axis, hold down the shift key. Alright, here we go. Now I can't get it to snap to the axis. Oh, there we go. On the green axis, I'm going to rotate it around like that. So it's back in the green axis, and then I'll just lean it against the shed. Get the move tool. See if I can lean it up there. Oh, I can't. It's going to go right through the shed. What if I get it right by the very edge? Oh, it's a huge rake. What if I get it right by that very edge right there, and then I move it up against that wall, and then we'll move Dr. Temple Grandin up here. She's been back here this whole time. Oh, I gotta select her and get her up here. Well, she's gonna move funny because she's gonna get her feet below the surface of the ground. So I'm gonna try and get her moving on the green axis, and then move her back towards the shed while keeping her on the green axis. And I guess that's good enough for now. I'm gonna have a tag for decorations or accessories. I guess accessories we'll call it. And then in that one, I got my caps lock on. In that one, oops, accessories. And in that tag, I'm going to select and put the flowers, Dr. Temple Grandin, and the rake are going into the accessories tag. Okay, so I mean, you guys could put any kind of school appropriate thing that you want in here, I guess. I'm not gonna be fussy about marks for the planter. If you've got something in there that looks like a planter, Don't stress if you're having a little trouble with that push-pull tool or the offset tool. The push-pull tool can seem especially uncooperative at times, and especially just difficult at times. But if you are interested in using it, I could help you out if you want to get it done. And if you just want to get a planter in there with a couple of plants in it and it's a rectangular planter, that's fine too. So that sums it up for the day. I think next period we're going to end up sealing off some of these soffits, and then we'll tackle the roof and getting some shingles on the roof. So if you guys have any troubles, make sure you get in touch with me back in the Google Meet, and we'll take care of it. We'll get you through this, okay? Good luck. Make sure you save it.